Hello and welcome to the second half of our show. I'm Juliana Tiani. Here on the Peninsula, animals are a part of our daily lives. Some of us care for pets like a dog or a cat, and most likely you have seen a guide dog walking with its owner. And if you have been out walking by the bay, chances are you've encountered a feral cat or two basking in the sun. Here to speak with us today is Scott DeLucci, Senior Vice President of the Relations of the Peninsula Humane Society. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. Thanks
How
for
are you
having
today?
me. Great. Doing excellent.
So I've heard you just adopted a dog.
Yeah, we're in the same boat.
Yeah,
so
me
I think
too.
yours is about a week ago, a couple weeks ago?
Actually, it's been about a month.
A month,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. We're going on about 3 weeks. So
Oh, okay, great.
new dog in the home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how you started out, what your job is? at the
Sure,
Peninsula
yeah,
Humane?
basically my job focuses outward into the community. So I oversee all the programs that have any kind of interface with the public. That would include our adoption program, all of our behavior classes, our education program, our media relations, our animal rescue work, and our cruelty investigation.
Can you tell us a little bit about the philosophy behind adoption of a pet?
Sure, yeah, and that's changed over the years. What I hear back, in the time the shelter's been around close to 60 years, and I hear from people who've been in the Bay Area a long time, and they say, boy, I used to go to the shelter, and you guys made it so hard to adopt. It was like getting, a home loan. You made it too difficult.
Yeah.
And we listened to that over the years, and our philosophy about 10 years ago really changed, where now we try to make it our mission to find a good match. When someone walks in the door, we want to make sure they adopt a pet, but we want to make sure they adopt one that's right for their home. I mean, if a little old lady walks in and wants to adopt a Rottweiler puppy, well, maybe it's not the best match, so we'll try to steer her in the right direction.
Yeah. Can you tell me how many animals you take in per year?
Yeah, right now, dogs and cats alone, and that's the number most people want to know about. Dogs and cats alone is about 9,000.
Oh, wow.
And it was, back in the 70s, it used to be 45,000 a year. So it's a huge difference in our business just in the last 30 years.
Can you tell me about what condition are the animals in mostly when they come in? Are they really bad? Or?
Great question. Yeah, animals come into us in one of three conditions. Some of them, fortunately, are perfectly healthy. That means they need nothing, no behavior work, no medical work. All we need to do is find a good home for them. Some of them come to us with some kind of a condition, whether it's a medical condition or maybe it's a dog that's been in someone's yard and is really, really shy, or people just don't know about the behavior, so it needs some work with our behavior staff. And then sadly, some of the animals come in such bad shape that there really isn't much we can do for them.
Yeah.
And those are the real sad cases, animals that have been hit by cars, animals that have been involved in pretty aggressive attacks. So fortunately, there aren't a lot of dogs in that category. There aren't a lot of dogs in the perfect category either, but there are a lot of dogs in that middle category, and dogs and cats, and we can do a lot for them now.
So I've heard that you guys have a spay and neuter clinic on site. Can you tell us a little bit how that benefits the community and you guys?
Oh, sure, and that has a lot to do with the numbers I mentioned before, the 45,000 versus 9,000 now. People say, well, how's that possible? There are, there are more people on the peninsula now than ever before, and pets are more popular. How did your numbers go down? And it's really because of that spay-neuter clinic. I mean, the philosophy there has been make it cheap and make it real easy for people, and they'll go and get their pets fixed, and that's what we've done. In fact, we've even done a special for pit bulls, so if people bring us their pit bull, we'll actually give them $10. We give people money to get their pets fixed in some cases. And we pick pit bulls because it's the breed we get the most of.
Can you tell me how much is the fee for the spay and neuter clinic?
Yeah, it varies based on whether it's a dog or cat, male versus female. So the most inexpensive surgery is a male cat, and that's $50. The most expensive surgery is a female dog that's a large dog, and that's, I want to say $130.
Okay.
So it's still really reasonable considered, or compared to a private veterinary practice.
And what kind of facilities and programs do you have for these dogs that come in, they have problems or, training problems?
Yeah. Well, we have a number of staff that are devoted to those animals. So we have 4 veterinarians right now, which people are always surprised. They think, well, you might have 1 vet at a shelter. We have 4, so it's a lot of people that can spend time with the animals to make them physically well. And then we have a behavior staff too. People know about the show The Dog Whisperer. So we have 3 dog whisperers on our staff, and that's their whole job, is really to assess the animals that we take in and figure out what they need to make them better.
All right. Can you tell me a little bit about the TAILS program?
TAILS, yeah, it stands for Transitioning Animals into Loving Situations, and it started with the sheriff's office, and they have inmates who are there in a minimum security facility, and they have all the time in the world on their hands with nothing to do. So they approached us and said, hey, how would you like to bring some of your dogs into the shelter, into our program, and we can have our guys train them. We thought, well, this is great. It's a perfect match. There are plenty of dogs that need it. There are plenty of inmates there with nothing to do. Really, the only challenge for us has been, at the end of those 8 weeks, finding a home as good as that home. It sounds kind of crazy,
Yeah.
but I mean, they're in that facility where they have all the time in the world with their handlers. They play with other dogs. They have a yard, so they have all the time and attention and training, and then really, it's hard for us to find a home that's that good after.
It's probably hard for them to let them go too.
It is. We had a
Yeah.
real touching moment during our last graduation where the adopter was actually there. So we have the inmate handing over the dog to the adopter, and you could just see there's like, the tears in his eyes,
Yeah.
and I mean, he knew he was doing a good thing. And that's the whole goal of the program, is to, to make the dogs better. But it was hard at the same time.
How did the partnership start off with the sheriff's office?
They contacted us.
Oh, really?
It was a great. They had thought about it for years. We had thought about it. We didn't know if we had a good partner out there. But once we knew from them that they wanted to do it, it was easy on our end. We had a couple of volunteers who are trainers, and we send them there once a week. They teach the guys a structured class, and then when we leave, it's really the guys on their own with the dogs, in charge of their grooming, their socialization, their cleaning up after them, feeding them, playing with them. And the dogs aren't lounging around watching TV at night.
Yeah.
They've got a good deal.
How has it affected the inmates?
The lieutenant who oversees the program there says people are friendlier with each other. So she said it's done a lot to change the atmosphere there.
Wow.
That's great for us. It wasn't what we counted on. We just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure the dogs were getting training, but to have an added benefit like that. I mean, some of the guys we've talked about getting into volunteer work when they're done with their program. Some have talked about adopting some of the dogs. They have family members there, and we're definitely open to that.
So can you tell us a little bit about how the recession has affected the Peninsula Humane Society?
Yeah, we've seen a couple things, both good and bad. Everyone knows how tough the economy has been. Donations, fortunately, have remained steady, and we're just so fortunate that that's been the case, that the support has been there. We've seen about a 6% increase in animals coming into us, so people who are no longer able to take care of their pets will drop their pets off at the Humane Society, and it's a couple hundred. I mean, to us, 6% is pretty significant. We've seen, on the positive end, we've seen a lot more volunteers come to us. I think it's, people are out of work that are looking to do something with their time, so they come and volunteer. So it's been great. I mean, the volunteer numbers have gone through the roof. And when the last kind of side benefit is our secondhand store. And just like other, Goodwills and Salvation Armies across the country, the business at our secondhand store has been booming. So it's knickknacks, it's household items, gently used clothing, all the same things you see at the other stores. Doing really well.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Hope Fund? What is that?
The Hope program is all the donations that come in that take care of that middle category of animals that I talked about in the beginning, all the ones that need something before they can go into someone's home. So we call it our Hope program. It was named after our dog, Hope, that it was stabbed. Little dog was stabbed multiple times and left out on the street. An officer found the dog, brought the dog to the Humane Society. We fixed the dog, and Hope went into a new home. So we call it our Hope program now after Hope.
And I heard there's a new facility being built in Burlingame. Can you tell us a little bit about that? When is that going to happen?
Yeah, not soon enough. I mean, we've been at our place for 60 years, and it definitely, you walk through our shelter, and I know the viewers are seeing some of the footage of that. It looks 60 years old. It looks like your typical, animal pound or animal shelter that, you've seen in Disney shows and TV movies and all that.
Yeah.
And the new shelter is going to look nothing like that. There won't be any chain link fencing for the dogs. The cats are going to have kitty condos. The dogs will have doggy dorms. They'll all have small rooms where they hang out in. And it's really going to be, it's a facility that's going to be meant to make the animals more comfortable, but also be a lot more uplifting for people who are there to adopt. I mean, right now people come in and they want to adopt, and it's overwhelming. It's noisy. It's smelly. It's there's just a lot of barking, and some people walk. You went through the process.
It
can be overwhelming.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So it's going to be quieter. It's going to be more comfortable, and it's going to be a lot just bright, cheery, uplifting. And we hope to open it about a year from now.
What's going to happen with the old place that you guys had?
Some services will remain back at Coyote Point. So if you've lost your pet, you'll visit there. If you need to surrender your pet to the shelter, you'll go to that old facility, the older facility. But if you want to adopt, if you want to go for a training class, education program, shelter tour, all the the main public functions will happen at the new place.
Can you tell us a little bit about, some viewers don't know, that what we can do to help maybe?
Yeah, really, three different things that most people can do. They can adopt animals. I've done it, you've done it, and if you're not in a position to, you can tell your friends to do it. And then there's giving of your time and giving of your money. We have 1,400 volunteers now, and it's not enough to do all the things that we need to do. And on any given day, we probably see about 10 or 12 that are in the building.
Yeah.
And then writing checks. More zeros the better. That's what we say. But the Hope program is supported by a lot of checks that are $25, $40, $50. If we get a check that's more than $100, it's a big deal to us, and all those add up.
Can you tell us what made you choose this career path?
Yeah, I mean, I was a teacher. I taught high school in the area, and I felt it was important to stay in nonprofit and to work for a community-based organization. I grew up in this community. I knew of the Humane Society, but I had no idea about all the things they did with education and spay-neuter and wildlife rehabilitation. And I felt like there was a whole lot there that needed to be told to this community. So I thought it was a good opportunity.
What are the most unusual animals that you've had?
We had 3 alligators a few months ago that came in, and they were dropped off in our night drop. Actually, no, we had 1 that was dropped off in the night drop, 3 that came from a home that was raided for drugs and for weapons.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's probably the most unusual thing this past year. We had a pelican in that was last week that was injured. It was one of the wild animals that we take care of.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to thank you for joining us on The Bay Today, a program produced by the students of the College of San Mateo's Broadcast and Electronic Media program. Please tune in again next week for more interviews with Bay Area people.